for you to fix more people. Read what happened last time.
Well, it began with, I believe, Zarcy's whole situation with the Walkner family as it becomes to a bit of a crust there. As, well, Cheshire having made contact with the very much friendly Carl who invited her to hang out at his place. Mostly because he's always there for a helping hand, as seemingly Cheshire, on the way there, was able to hear a bit about Carl's new other guest. As he asked a bit about exactly the skills of Xerxes, which she attested that he is magic and seems to be powerful, but not necessarily her type of people, but still, which concerned Carl to, well, many reasons why he was concerned about that, especially since he's going to be training to teach, well, his sister about magic, hopefully, maybe. Regardless, though, while Carl escorted Cheshire to have a nice time and hang out at his place, basically, Sage was with Muriel having a bit of small talk before Carl walked in there. A bit surprised to see each other, as well, we had a brief conversation at best before we all had to sit down about what was going on. As it seemed that we were going to wait for the professor, but as time went on, it became very obvious that he wasn't coming, or something had happened to him. As well, both Muriel and Par were concerned, decided to split off and try to find him. With Sage, of course, offering to help. Apparently, von Richten was with the mayor, Burgomeister, Barovia at that time, and maybe, of course, he might be captured. If that's the case, we can go get him. But until we know for sure, we're just going to look around. As Muriel turned into a bird form and Sage followed suit after her, and Carl went off to see some of the taverns. Sage was able to sneak into the household of the Burgomeister, trying to see if she can find any evidence of the von Richten, though she did stumble across a few things, namely a young boy seemingly doing some type of spell with a skeleton of a cat, and voices speaking through a muffled door, essentially, as he was being congratulated by a woman who seemed to be, I guess, something about maybe tutoring him or something like that, but not enough that she could hear exactly what the details were. And even hiding away from a guard who looked very intimidating. Looks like he had a bit of something was going on with that guy. But regardless, von Richter was not here, as she took her leave and followed Muriel out after giving her the news. We eventually made our way to a tavern where we saw Carl seemingly having a wonderful time in singing, and on one of the tables was Rudolf von Richten. As Sage went off to go speak with him and to try to, well, her original mission still was to find Aragal, as he seemed to be very polite, but not willing to give that information about Aragal's whereabouts to her, at least not for free. Apparently, he asked that she helps him deal with this tutor that the Walkners have in their employee to ensure that he does not teach the young daughter anything, any magic, or at least the very least stop it before it becomes whatever he fears it will become. And Sage, not having much options in that way, decided to agree, as she was going to take a leave before, well, having to sit down and someone else sitting at her table as a somewhat hidden woman introduced herself, offering to help and to make a deal, having overheard the conversation, asking instead of her, get in the way of that, she just lets it happen. Just leave town and don't get in the way of whatever thing she has going on, and we'll be all good. Sage, of course, asked a couple questions, finding out this woman's name is Maiva, and apparently she is a daughter of a Shar, or at least Asmer Shar, which is not going to be something that Sage is really happy about. Though she agreed, or pretended to agree to her words, as she was given a map, and, well, she made her leave. And she did immediately turn around and give that over to von Richten as she snuck out, basically. Regardless, we went back home, had a bit of chat and concerns, of course, and regrouped a bit. And the next day, everyone else met up for breakfast at the Walkner house, mostly Cheshire and Xerxes, as a bit of an awkward conversation between the two, not necessarily friends, but people who came upon this world at the same time type of situation. And, well, Xerxes went off to go teach, while at the same time, Cheshire was entertaining Carl, or Carl was entertaining Cheshire, as he showed her around a bit, seemed to want him to get to know her, and made his move, which Cheshire seemed more than happy to go with, as they decided to do some coitus in the closet, we'll say. And while that was going on, like I said, Sage woke up with Mira and Von Richten with the same task to ensure that this tutoring session does not proceed fully, and decided the best option, as Von Richten would tell her, is to pretend to be Carl Rockner's lover. So that apparently happens a lot, so it works out for the best type of cover. Go there, sneak in, and do what must be done, regardless of the outcome, as long as this tutoring stops. And she, well, seeing the funniness of the whole situation, decided to go forth and make her way there, pretending to be a clueless, foolish woman falling in love with Carl Wagner, even crying and things like that, as she didn't necessarily meet Carl, but met Nikolai, who seemed to be very sad for her and understanding of her plight as the scoundrel that his brother is. While that comedy of dramas is playing out in the household, Xerxes had a bit of a training session with the young Wagner daughter, as Stella, well, she followed his teachings and seemed to unlock an ability in the first go, as she jumped from shadow to shadow rapidly, losing control, and well, Xerxes was able to help her step out of that, as she would not have been able to do it herself. And it became obvious that whatever magic she has, it more likely has to do with the Shadowfell, and seems to be more of based on blood, the sorcerer's power, basically. And will take a lot to train that, but she seems to have a lot of talent and natural magic at the very least, which could be good or ill depending how you play it out. While that was going on, like I said, Sage pretending to be the distraught lover after hearing the engagement that Cheshire and Carl seemed to be having in the closet. Well, we saw from our advantages of the window that well, the shadow, I guess, teachings, as well as the sisters very much not necessarily distraught, but very much not prepared for that, as Nikolai raced to check on his sister and took her off to the household. And well, Sage did her pitch with Xerxes to explain maybe it's best you stop the training session, and instead of doing that, come with me to, well, help me out with the situation I have going on. It'll be a lot more fun and less dangerous than what's going on here. And I'm gonna be honest, there's some people who aren't happy about this, and Xerxes seemingly seeing an opportunity to decide to go with that. As eventually Cheshire and Carl came out, and we all regrouped, as Carl beforehand was off asking Cheshire to knock out Xerxes and put him in a bag and go on to another next step, essentially, which she seemed to be gung-ho for. But once they found out that Sage was already convinced Xerxes, new plan was reassembled, as now we needed to leave, especially when Xerxes revealed, yeah, she actually has magic. It's already been unlocked, so it's kind of like not really much you can do on that end. And Carl made the plan to get the fuck out of there much faster, as he told us to go towards the gate. He'll grab some supplies, and we had to go, essentially, as we made our way. Talking a bit more as we explained some things that Cheshire missed and try to capture up with each other's information, and made our way there to, well, as we passed the guards, we saw Mava, as Sage had eventually told him, well, told Cheshire who she was, and she seemed eager to fight her, though things got a bit more tense as she stepped out from wherever she was looming from, as she explained that she's just trying to be friends. And regardless of how it ended, it seems she had some amusement from Xerxes' teaching, and whatever course it set out, it seemed that she's pleased by it regardless. And while there was a bit of tension and animosity, at least on our side, or at least for Sage, I can't really speak for the others, she seemed to not be willing to fight and made her leave, as she has other things to take care of, and seemed to be very mysterious about the whole thing. As that was going on, Cheshire a bit disappointed with that showing. We had Von Richten and Muriel and Carl show back up, having decided to come with us, as the map that well, Carl being the best tracker, or someone being the tracker that we're going to meet up with, sorry, and the map that Sage was given shows that Aragal was more likely with Kazan, someone who should be the ally of Strahd, which either means Strahd has him, or there's being moves made without Strahd, which could be dangerous. And well, Von Richten seems to be really believing that we're heroes to help with this journey, which we'll see how that works out, basically, in the end. As we made our leave, Carl regaling Cheshire with hopes and chances of seeing romanticized journeys, as she was trying to explain the exactly what home we all came from, as we saw in the distance a woman waving at us to, I guess, be our guide. And I think it ended there last time. Carl speaking about hope, us seeing a woman in the distance, and everyone believing that a chance to make a difference is possible, at least for some of us, not all of us.
Actually, reference it accurately. But yeah, those are the kind of effects you can expect.
Yeah, no, it's not anytime soon because I did 3 XP to get that thing first.
Like,
but yeah, so.
I basically choose which is appropriate. Basically bad shit happens.
Yeah, no, I knew that. That's what the Mystic Backlash mostly kind of is for.
So yeah. Well, I believe you are on the journey, on the road. I've gathered quite a lot of people at this point. How many of you are there's like one? No,
Yeah.
6.
Muriel, Von Richten, yeah.
Muriel,
6 people. Yeah,
Von
6 people. 3
Richten.
NPCs, 3 PCs.
Yeah, 6.
Carl.
Yeah.
Well, it should be 7, actually, because the lady
No.
there.
Which lady?
It's the lady we saw in the distance who's supposed to be
true,
our
yeah,
guide.
yeah,
That's
true.
true.
Fucking
I
Esmeralda.
didn't-
Yeah, Esmeralda.
I didn't
Yeah,
post
she's
her
just
as well.
waving to us. Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe it's not Esmeralda. We'll see, but.
No, it's her. As yeah, I think that was actually the last scene, right? You just saw the two of them sort of chatting
In a distance,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was waving. Yeah, she was.
She's waving at us, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so as you approach, Von Richten will introduce her as one Esmeralda Davenier. This is, well, a bunch of outlanders like us. As she smiles and will
Nice.
shake your hand.
Nice to meet
Shire
you.
will shake your hand.
Yeah.
To Shire.
It's,
Sage.
I presume since you're all here, you decided to take up the cause then?
Decided to help out as best we can, at the very least.
Smiles and nods, looked at the other two.
Shire will simply give a shrug. Killing monsters is more or less what I did back home. Seems it's what I will do here.
Yeah, that actually spoke just not after introducing himself.
Well, I guess you're not much of a talker then. She kind of shrugs.
No.
I don't
Don't
like
worry,
the
he kinda
quiet
gets
ones.
nervous around
I
Emily.
don't, listen, I don't like the quiet ones. Say something about yourself. Tell me a joke.
Another.
You don't know jokes?
He gets
No, I don't. In fact, I said last Saturday I'm not a boss.
She
He
kind of
gets- yeah,
looks
he's kinda
around and
totally
says,
right.
kind of like glances at the woods around and says, "Ah, no, you fit this place. Why are you so gloomy? Cheer up, buddy."
just- It's sadly the being stuck on the plane of death, despair, and misery is not a.
I don't think we need more despair, don't you think? That's exactly the reason why we should crack jokes.
Yeah, let's just chuckle at that. It's fine. I'll be here to provide the background effects to the jokesters.
I don't want you to. Oh God, depressive too.
That was my attempt at a joke. Though.
Self-deprecating
optimistic
humor
than
is
you.
only funny if you don't actually sound like you believe it, though. And he says nothing. Of course, he says nothing.
You weren't this quiet before, Devil Man.
I think a couple of ladies knocked the confidence right out of him.
Fucking actually says sorry at that.
Aww. Someone having crushes.
I think it's the other way around.
I think it's them that desire to crush me, but in a bad way.
Ah, listen, there's no such thing as a bad crush. Only a insistent one.
What about a vampire command? What about a vampire commander and an Asimov Sharp?
Well, one of those is worse than the other. So the lesson you should take is that it can always get worse, and you should appreciate what you have and be optimistic about it. See? As Rudolph will kind of pat on the shoulder. Don't worry, she's like this with everyone.
Oh, that's all right. A bit of positivity is nice sometimes.
As Muriel will look at this one. I think with a group this big, we shouldn't have any trouble dealing with the wizard at the very least.
I look at the camera.
Tashaw would actually say to that. I'm not the educated person, but is that the extent of the plan? Storm his tower?
No. But infiltrating it is not an easy thing, and a distraction up front would definitely work. Depending on what kind of distraction you people want to be.
I am normally violent and belligerent.
That could work. If you think you can maintain a conversation with them, that could also work. Esmeralda kind of nods.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh.
I think he'll use too many big words. I won't know what they mean.
I've never talked to him, so I don't know.
I could have a conversation depending on what type of village she is. We'll just do have a bit of a varied personality.
Carl just kind of puts a hand on your shoulders, Archie, and says, I can do it. Gives you like a
Otherwise,
slight push forward.
Otherwise, I'm more than able to either provide a utility support or more offensive magics. And a direct confrontation.
We should try talking to him before we turn to violence.
As well, not
that I appreciate violence, but a fight like that is not a fight I want right now.
Yeah, that's what it's not. I think I have more than enough to talk about. Talking with a literal lifter for God knows how long here. About the Shadowfell and whatnot might be interesting. And if itself, that should all give you.
Don't worry, I'll help you. I'm not good at sneaking. Too big.
Oh no. Esmeralda kind of shakes her head, says, "Me and Muriel were gonna do the sneaking." Looks at Sage. Although you might also fit the bill if you think you're up for it.
Ooh, always good for a good, simple sneak in.
Okay, then we have then two groups. We have the ones that go and try and find this individual of yours, and the other group that will be the distraction by asking questions and talking.
All right.
I forgot Mac's weakness.
You see, that's the real explanation here. You see, I prefer. Xarxes is a Greek philosopher. He realized he only needs men.
There's a not insignificant chance that Mac will give the entire plan away in the first 5 minutes of the conversation.
Yeah, as Esmeralda will kind of point to this nice little cart, carriage almost, that's sort of hidden behind some of the trees. Says, you weren't thinking we were gonna walk all the way there.
Oh, thank God.
That's what I usually do.
Not with me, my friend. You ride hard and fast. There's a lot of you.
I will go to get into the.
There's a lot of you.
I will go to.
Listen, it will be a tight fit for some of you. As a Cheshire, you will have to kind of squat down.
There's a carriage made for halflings.
I can't believe Red is making the dick
I'm
jokes.
sorry. I was
Cheers.
so shy with hate. I'm so sorry.
The tights. Listen, yeah, we all kind of stuck in here. We kind of have to squiggle.
Uh, it's fine. We'll make it fit. As yeah, eventually. Uh, we you start traveling.
We're professionals.
We are, in fact,
We are professional heroes of Barovia.
as yeah, it'll take a while. Probably by cart. Let me think. I think you can make it. I think you can make it before it's too dark out. Because you did. How early was it when you left?
I do not know.
Midday.
We
I think
we
midday.
started it at breakfast. They did the training and
Yeah,
tutoring.
midday. So
That's-
midday probably.
Well then you'll arrive late at night. Never mind. It'll take you actually a lot. Maybe probably you'll have to camp because after a while, both Carl and Esmeralda will say that yeah, traveling at night, not a good idea. Not a good idea, friends. So I
Tends
think
to.
yeah, she's gonna point out, says yeah, there's I'll be honest, I'm mostly worried about the werewolf. That's like the biggest concern.
Yeah. There were werewolves back home too.
Yeah, but were they
Traveling.
part of the local authorities?
Jesus.
No, but they were part of the clans before they were transformed.
Okay.
Technically, technically their kin.
Oh, there's sometimes they were used as mercenaries, so not for some monstrous war bands.
No, I didn't fucking see werewolves. No.
Yeah, listen, that's the thing, and the problem is they're part of the local authorities. So if you kill one, other people might show up. At the same time, if they are kind of feeling asshole-ish, they might just like pick a fight. So let's just hope we can hide out and not like stay on the road while they patrol. Also, vampires can also bit dicks, but I don't think vampires venture this far out. Hope not.
We all stare at the camera.
I look at the random encounter table. Huh. All werewolves and vampires.
Like 50, it's a dice coin. It's like,
I rolled the dice only to give people the illusion of randomness.
I only roll dice because I like the sound they make.
there's no choice. There's no chance in here.
As Muriel doesn't say anything when Esmeralda is cracking these jokes. Like Muriel actually looks concerned of something.
Mm.
She's not gonna say it unless one of you asks, though. So
Yeah.
Luckily, Cheshire is right here. Do you have is something wrong? Meryl, is it?
there are threats in the woods that don't belong to the local authorities, which I am more concerned with. Actual threats.
They are.
There's there's a clan of powerful druids that I mean, I guess they have an understanding with people in charge, but it hasn't stopped them in the past from, well, picking fights with the locals. And given your distaste for the Sharons, I don't think these ones will particularly fit your bill. As they also seem to worship her, but in a more nature-like way. I don't really understand them, but my people have to deal with them quite regularly, unfortunately. As Esmeralda looks at Muriel and says, I don't know. Like, Muriel just kind of looks a bit embarrassed and says, I don't think we need to bring this up. She's like, looked at the three of you and says, you don't know about her.
I mean,
What?
the fact that she can do the thing?
She can turn into. She's some kind of a shapeshifter who can turn into a raven. We do know. We did see that.
Well, I mean, I guess you can also see that there's mists around, but like, that's a very surface level observation, Mr. Intellectual. Have you never asked yourself how, why, where, when?
I think it's rather impolite to ask to vivisect someone you meet the first time.
Well, I mean, it is, but
It's
she
rather
kind of
impolite to ask
shrugs.
someone, what are you?
Well, I won't. Have I ever asked you what you are, Muriel? No, I've only like asked how you like. Well, I guess I've asked other equally impolite questions. I guess I'm just impolite. She turns back to the road. Muriel just kind of sort of like sighs in exasperation a bit. Well, we have time, as Esmeralda will pull the cart into the woods a bit, as you will kind of all get out and begin sort of camping, as she needs to hide it a bit under the brush and lead the horses away. As both her and Rudolph will start setting some alarms, some traps. Some of you will help out with the firewood, putting up the tents, that sort of thing. But as night falls, well, you still get to continue that conversation if you want.
Yeah, I want to ask if, like, as long as she's comfortable with it, of course, like, what exactly is Muriel? Is she just like a shapeshifter, like Zars was saying, or was she like a raven, or what exactly is that, or what she is?
Lux will be taking notes.
Yeah, Muriel will say, yeah, I am what you could call a were-raven.
So is it like a whole family of you, or a clan, a kin, a chief thing going on?
Well, we have, I guess you could call him clan chief, but
Well, a family, so to speak.
yeah,
elders.
he deals with most of the high-level decisions.
And have you guys just lived here? No one knows about you? Because everyone talks about the werewolves and the vampires.
No, people know
The
about
monsters.
us, but I mean, we are my family. We run one of the largest pieces of farmland, and produce. Well, we are mostly known for our wine, We supply the entire region, including the castle.
Are you? So you must be the Wizard of. So the family. It's the family patriarch, the Wizard of Wines.
Nods.
You
Sorry.
men- oh, go ahead. Yeah, you mentioned back there that you're kind of not welcome. Is it just because of the you specifically, or is it something with your people?
Not welcomed?
When we were talking about the you couldn't go to the mayor's place.
Is your lycanthropic nature known throughout, or is that a secret?
It is known. People know about it. It's not kind of hard to keep it a secret for so many generations, but the reason why me and the Burgomaster of Volaki are on bad terms relates more to... Well, we're not the biggest supporters of the Count, as you can imagine. Which makes us quite a bother to handle. And the only reason they put up with us is because we provide them with goods and services they direly need.
So, is your whole family just doing this resistance kill Strahd thing, or is it just something you're doing, or what?
Oh, They understand. They don't like the situation. But I think I'm the most active of them. There's no real resistance, if you can call it that. It is merely trying to slow the tide that seemingly is enveloping this entire land. We did help in the past, long, long ago. My ancestors helped out the Grand Rebellion. That was the biggest, and it ended in absolute disaster. And then my other ancestors helped an order of paladins, and that ended in disaster. Time we seemingly have gotten involved across our long history, people ended up dead by the hundreds. As such, well, other than me, most of us have sort of resigned with the situation at hand and try and coexist and ensure that the Count doesn't reach for more power.
Okay, that's a lot. Put on your shoulders.
Like, yeah, she's clearly trying to give a very passive, not passive, what's the word? Stoic rendition of her true feelings.
Yeah.
She is, in fact, clearly not very happy with how the rest of her clan has decided to readjust to what sounds like losses across history.
So, how did you and the professor meet up then?
Well, I saw them in town. Yes, we just kind of chatted up as Esmeralda puts an arm around her and says, listen, she can be fun when she's not like all moody and broody.
You guys became fast friends and started, I don't know, came up with a plan then?
Rudolph just kind of chuckles at that and says, I wouldn't call it a plan, but I think Muriel is just happy to have like-minded people with her. I think it was a very lonely time for her.
So where does this guy? She kind of points at Carl. Come into this whole thing then.
I assume Carl tried to hit on Muriel.
She will just sort of look a bit confused at that and says, "No, what?"
Oh, I'm surprised.
Oh, it's definitely a front, right? So you can't be like that all the time.
Listen, Carl just kind of. I feel like I'm being attacked here. I'll have you know, I only go after strong women who I do not take advantage of vulnerable individuals, Xerxes. Muriel here is like a little sister sometimes.
I will not
got-
inside. I will not inside check this man. It's a lie here.
Me,
well,
listen,
half
you
lie,
can
I
think
guess.
you're an advantage with like wits.
You could risk rolling a miss with the match and like have like Doom appear. You can do that if you want.
No, I'll trust my wits.
Look, so far I've heard about Carl is that he's given you guys both like a place to stay without question, and seemingly is now involved with a rebel faction, and now it's very romanticized view of the world. No offense, Carl. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how did you dance your way into the shindig.
Same way I dance my way into anything with style.
Well, keep your secrets then, Mr. Dancy.
Listen, she was a scared little girl, and I literally gave her a fucking piece of cake and make a couple of jokes.
Oh,
She's kind of
Is that
like,
how it
she
went?
looks embarrassed at this. She's
I see the rogue with the heart of gold.
like, listen, I was like, what? So long ago. Like 14? God, like a lifetime ago.
Okay. So you and Carl knew each other, and Muriel met the professor, and that's how Carl got involved. Okay. I'm starting to get the timeline, hopefully.
Listen, me and Muriel have traveled across the land. Uh, listen, I dare to say I am in fact one of the most well-traveled people in Barovia. That is confined to Barovia. But I visited all the village. I've camped out in many places in the woods. I went hiking into the mountains. I went swimming in the lakes. I dives from waterfalls into deep, dark pools. The only place I haven't visited is the castle, for obvious reasons. Kind of like
Of course.
but like looks like Xerxes and says, "I didn't realize there were like needy commanders over there."
Apparently, vampires have exotic taste, and not many tieflings like to visit here.
Ah, you see, that's the problem. My blood is quite mundane. It'll give you a stomachache.
Probably a bit overly sweet, I suppose.
Well, I mean that's in all these years I've never been never got called by the blood collectors. So, I mean, I assume that's like have to have some sort of detection mechanism. Either that, or they're in fact being corrupt and made the deal with with my mother, which is always a possibility.
I'll not comment on which one's the more likely option.
That's just scaring because that means my mother has much more political influence than I would have expected, even outside the city.
I assume every noble has. I assume most of the noble families are being exempt from the blood collection, or at least
Oh,
given
that
increased chance
true.
whatever lottery they have.
Not true.
That's actually pretty about that actually.
Carl say, I'm pretty sure I remember Ismark telling me his dad was called once, and I think they also had like his grandfather.
From when I spoke with Ismark, they were always a bit more hesitant working with the authorities, so I think it was mostly almost spread from the vampires. And you said cases from Valaki? Or your family?
My family's not even in charge, so
Does the Burgomaster family get their blood collected? If you're aware of that.
No, not really. They also seem to have bad tasting blood.
In that case, I think it's more Ismark's family failing to ingratiate themselves with the locals.
I think that earns him more brownie points in my book.
It does speak to their moral character. Another failed mission. That's true. Another.
Why?
Look, I was
Why
given
sorry, Strahd? What?
Because I know Straw was really sad. He's just like, "What do you mean they just left and quit his job? We need him back to work. He needs to get back in that position again."
Listen, Bildrath is a listen, Bildrath will ingratiate himself with Rahadin.
Listen, I was given one job. It was a fun Aragal. That was another one. I just made picture Ismark and Irina just left back home at the Walker place.
Listen, I'm sure Fiona will not like pull anything with them.
Of course not.
But yeah. There does seem to be like the sort of like relationship between Carl and Muriel. They do seem to be like close friends.
Genuinely shocked that he didn't hit on Muriel. Genuinely shocked.
What do you mean? She was 14 at the time. He's not a creep.
No,
No,
he was
explains it, actually.
14. You know, he was 14 at the time.
Ah,
Yeah,
They kind of grew up
explains.
together.
That's the only
gotcha.
reason he didn't. If they met while they were adults.
Now he never said anything about Esmeralda, so listen.
Muriel's clearly the exception to the rule, not the.
Listen. Do you believe the propaganda though? Listen.
What
What-
propaganda? What propaganda from who? From fucking whom?
From Nikolai, of course. Listen.
That wasn't even Nikolai. Nikolai never even. It was mostly seeing my own eyes.
Listen. This man's the knight, not the fucking womanizer, okay?
Nikolai was apparently not. He not seemed shocked when another bit just came at the same time his brother was fucking another one.
And also fucking Rudolph also seemingly also had that same idea.
Yeah, listen, but that's because Rudolph is friends with Esmeralda, and like, well,
It seems three out of four women, in fact, that we met were hit upon by and the only woman that was not hit upon by Carl was in fact the one he grew up with as a child.
which is, listen, still means he's not a womanizer.
Note this down, everyone. Just don't. That's the limit. If you don't literally try to sleep with every single unrelated woman in your life, you're not a womanizer.
That's true. That's true. I mean, even Raphael, technically Raphael by that logic is not a woman, but they don't think Raphael tried to have sex with his own mother. Because, I assume Raphael did not try to have sex with his own
I'm
mother.
gonna be honest. I said unrelated back.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
like,
fuck.
listen, that's a different fetish you're getting into there, and you
No,
never know with
exactly.
Raphael. Don't say never.
I'm assuming if Raphael had the time, he would try to sleep with every woman in a city.
I'll remind you what Raphael did with Viv and her mother. Like,
That's
I
true.
know,
That's
the
true. Actually,
generational.
that's true. He did have that. He did unlock that achievement.
Complete the chain.
So listen. See, that's a womanizer. Carl is like half that.
Half a point. He's
Merely horny.
merely a young bachelor.
Listen, if you only knew that the castle was like filled with, he would have like
He
joined
met
the
the
Royal
right commander.
Guard.
He would not have said no.
Yeah, he would have joined the Royal Guard long ago.
What do you mean, Socks? He said no to these people.
Genuinely
I know.
shocked.
I can't believe it either.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone has other questions for Muriel's thing or anything else.
No, because I think they already mentioned that Arago kind of dropped. Well, yeah, actually, I want to ask: did Arago drop them off here too? Because did they interact with Arago more than we did, essentially?
Rudolph will say, well, the man was not very forthcoming, as Esmeralda just kind of chuckles and doesn't say anything, but like is clearly amused. Rudolph says, I'm sorry, Esmeralda, I wasn't familiar with... Says, no, it's fine, it's just... I do remember you did not know how to handle him. And it was hilarious to watch you struggle so much. I've seen this man
What was the?
bullshit his way through vampiric courts. I've never seen him sort of fumble at just someone being a bit mischievous.
Really? Arago caught you off guard.
And Rudolph's like, he... mischievous, okay? He purposefully gave me bad information to see how I would handle stressful situations. And I was like, yeah, so you handled them well, you passed.
What level of bad information are we talking about?
Rudolph says, well, give me some bullshit about some magical artifacts that we could use to defeat the Count. Turns out it was all nonsense, folktale legends. Those artifacts were destroyed centuries ago. And I had to do a lot of things to figure out that I was in fact chasing nonsense. Esmeralda just kind of shrugs and says, see, that's why you have me, because I'm not gullible enough. Just fall for the very convenient prophecy. He even did like a fucking card reading cam to him. I laughed my ass off. It was hilarious. She barely asked any questions. She just kind of went along with it. Rudolph says, I was gathering information. It would have been impolite to just call him a crook. She kind of shrugs and says, whatever makes you feel better.
Shara just shrugs. I'll be honest, I saw him before he took me into the mists. I saw him in a tavern. He was staring at me very weirdly, so I assumed he just wanted to fuck. He seemed caught off guard by that. Then again, I did just walk up to him and tell him that.
Carl just nods approvingly, and Esmeralda says, huh, well, it's because most people don't do that.
Most people are cowards.
That's also true. Also true. See, Rudolph, this is the energy you need to checked. People don't like scam you. He just kind of shakes his head and like kind of takes a swig of the drink. But to continue, yes. Had a bit of discussion, but he left soon after that. I believe he had other business to attend to.
Meh. It's more than what we got. He was when he brought us into the mist. He was not there when we got on the other side. I assume wherever he is now is the answer to that.
Esmeralda just kind of nods and says, I think they wrote us off as failures, Rudolph, I'll be honest. I think the whole scheme that he proposed with killing Strahd, I think he kind of gave up on us. Which I'm personally a bit offended. But I can understand him. Rudolph's like, we've been here 1 year, like, that's not that much time. And Esmeralda just points at him. Have you looked yourself in the mirror? How much luck do you think you have, old man? Kind of shakes his head, takes another drink.
In the Yurnkant, they would call you a wise sage. You have lived. It looks like you have lived more than 3 times the amount a normal man would live. Well, they would call you a wise sage to your face. They would call you old man behind your back.
I'm not that old.
How old are you?
70.
The average Yurnkant dies around the age of 40.
Okay. Where I live, people...
So I was wrong. Merely twice as old.
Listen, where I come from, people generally make it to 90 unless something bad happens to them.
The only people who live that long are the shamans. They have magic.
Anyone can purchase the services of a mage.
It's like struck out that kinda.
Out of character, I do believe that like D&D humans live like the same normal like time frames.
Yeah, no, you can't calculate most about it. I won't check most, but the thing most can afford that bit. Like, humans can live up to like if elements is like is living in fucking 20k fucking years. Just you said calculate the fact that most can easily afford the service of a mage.
No, that's not true. Listen, I've seen like fucking D&D prices for like health potion. That's doable.
That's the problem is the average.
Let's not get into the debate about how the fact that the economy in D&D is the adventure economy that most peasants will never see.
I was about to mention like a year of labor. An adventurer can afford 5 gold, but a peasant will earn 5 copper a year.
Let me fix the entire D&D world one retcon at a time.
Fuck off. Zaz, you cannot run away from this because Zartis will mention it now. I can do this too.
I was merely referencing the fact that the Yurtkant are a tribal people with outlawed medicine, and they don't have that much magic comparison.
Yeah. So Zax will mention that. Most of the dwarves cannot afford the service of a mages. Nobles and adventurers and mercenaries, nobles and other specialists can afford them, but
pull out my old map. Back and roll this shit.
Yeah.
It depends on the city, but to decide where the fuck Rudolph lived. I don't think it was mentioned, so.
That's mentioned.
No. Unfortunately, the problem is it's because Rudolph doesn't live in the Forgotten Realms. He's from Ravenloft. He's from Mordant.
Yeah. At least from my experience, at least from Waterdeep and all.
If you wanted to place him anywhere, I would probably place him from Waterdeep because Waterdeep's a pretty advanced city in comparison to the rest of the Sword Coast.
Does Waterdeep though have a problem with vampires though?
Not really. Vampires aren't actually the biggest threat in the Forgotten Realms. I can't remember the last time a vampire actually plagued the realms that
Yeah,
bad.
vampires are kind of like
Well,
they're not they're
the
not.
thing is, like he wouldn't be dealing with like he's not like top tier of the universe. Let's find let's
Because the problem is, I can't remember a specific area in the Forgotten Realms whose niche is dealing with like vampires.
Yeah, the only area is like fucking the Lich fucking Kingdoms of
Because
Fear, I guess.
unfortunately, vampires are just sort of a monster you find in dungeons sometimes.
Yeah.
fine. Zaz, listen
Most
to me.
vampires all like the guy from Baldur's Gate 3. They do just seemingly wait in sewers and don't do anything.
Listen to me, Zaz. This is called D&D, but better. I will run other D&D games in other places. We'll fix every well. So yeah, I'm in fact. It's time to establish lore. Retcons for days. Just need to find a city. But yeah, sorry. Do go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's some places are better off, but even more than even Callum Sham do have their issues. And Baldur's Gate, and the lower wards are the life expectancy there is not great. Not to mention of Neverwinter, but I think that's more to the volcano eruption, less to the.
As well. Suppose you do have a point, but well, I'm not from those places. Mostly traveled a lot. Vampires are what I've fought against most of my life. They can be insidious creatures that will use that sort of you described rather dire situation to their advantage. Fighting them takes years at the very least. They're well, arrogant enough. If they are paranoid, it might take decades. My entire life, I've killed only a handful of truly powerful elder ones.
Let's just say I've not dealt with too many vampires, so.
That's because nobody knows about them. Nobody sees the strings that get pulled in the shadow. You're talking about people who deal with time as a currency. They have a lot of it. They don't need to rush. They don't need to overcommit. They need to, in fact, stay out of sight because, well, Esmeralda doesn't know. But you know what kind of individuals can throw their weight around us, even the Sword Coast.
Yeah, that's well not.
Those are
Quite a
not
few
the
mortal-
sort of individuals you fight directly.
I've heard stories.
Quite a few ancient liches and sorcerers and whatnot around.
As Shia will shrug. I can't never personally fought a vampire myself. Well, not before coming here. Mostly wolves, bears, the occasional monster, wyvern, orcs, a few ogres.
You look like a powerful warrior. So I think you could see in a fight. A vampire is not the most dangerous. Problem is to get them into that position.
The Shire nods that.
Actually, there's a mercenary company, vampires, and
Against the vampires, not the top tier shit. Yeah, that's why kind of like I'm eternally laughing, like shuffling. But the scary vampires, yeah. Get in line, motherfucker. Let us literally everything but better than you, and can walk in the sun. Sorry, the Liches don't need to hide, you fucking coward. It's like devils can actually also are better than vampires. They also kind of do the same bit they do. So yeah, it's like Zach's like internally. This is what Zach's internally thinking. Like, it's like I get your trauma against vampires, Rudolph. Like you know your noble cause. You know, fuck vampires. But we do have the level 20 Lich and the fucking fear.
I don't know, Mac. Is there a lich hiding and like fucking in Baldur's Gate century? No.
No, that's because they have a because they have a kingdom with 20 more billion skeletons.
So it's
the
not
chat.
really listen. In fact, I've decided I think Rudolph is gonna be born in Baldur's Gate. I think that's
Yeah, but the Liches have a kingdom. They don't need to hide.
will fix everything.
Cool thing you got there, Cazador. Now let me go return to my fucking castle.
Listen, he was born there, but I don't think he is kind of a traveler at this point. But yeah. I mean, feel free to make those arguments, Mac. Let's retcon together the entirety of D&D.
Yeah, we can as Zaxxas will kind of chuckle at the comment of the fucking people treating time as a currency. I'm sure Empire's not the only people who do that. Like Liches, devils, even quite a few Liches, even most Liches of fear. Well, actually, quite nice. Actually, they have a nice conversation. One of them. No, Empire's not exactly. Well, immortality is not exactly an exclusive club for those in power.
Not.
And even if you don't have properties yourself, you can always hire a wizard too, or a skilled alchemist.
I believe there's probably some wizard out there that's lived forever.
Oh, of course, Elminster is. Everybody knows stories of Elminster and Mordenkainen.
You know what differentiates though vampires from your ever so more powerful liches and demons and devil lords and why I think everyone sees the lich, everyone sees the undead they raise, everyone will band arms. In fact, they seem to lose more than they seem to win. But if you don't know about a threat, there's no reason to fight against it. If that threat manages to latch on like a parasite, you won't even know it's there. In fact, you'll think things are just normal. Things are just bad because that's just life. There is no real explanation, no real need to look further into things. And so the vampire continues to exist and pull their schemes. You see, you do have a wizard's mindset, Xerxes. You seem to boil everything down to power when, in fact, the truly dangerous vampires, the ones that I fight, realized long ago that power is a fool's game.
I'd actually not along with that, yeah. How are you
Never be
planned
able
more
to-
issues you have to do?
You'll never be able to fight off the gods and the devils, princes.
Oh no,
You'll
there's
never.
many things. There's many more things worse out in the planescape.
But what if you
There's
can
no end to
just?
the ladder.
But what if you can just set up shop? Let's say in Baldur's Gate. Just live forever in decadent luxury, with no hassle, no bother, no adventurers, no heroes, no paladins breaking down your doors to kill you. And you can exert just
With
enough
enough.
power.
With enough effort and work, you could even make yourself appear to be a legal citizen. Anyone trying to kill you would run afoul of the legal system, guards and the like.
Vampires have figured out long ago that power, the multidimensional kind of thing.
That's mostly not along with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm kind of laughing about the chat. Tweeting about chat. Grunt using logic. Meanwhile, the D&D knowers. Yeah,
Now, in fairness, in the Ravenloft campaign setting, this is how vampires actually work. This is what they do.
yeah. Well, because I figure like, sure, buddy Rudolph. What about what about the vampire in the fucking lonely cave? I assume this
But-
guy's retcon. That guy was
Yeah.
retconned. There is no random encounter vampire.
Yes, the
Listen, those
Cheshire
are
will
just
just actually
vampires
ask.
spawn. We don't count those as the actual vampires.
Cheshire will just ask. So, what is the process of drawing one of them out? Then, to be honest, most of my fights are more direct things.
Quite a slow and grueling process. Involves finding a loose thread of their organization, of their network. Start pulling on that. Infiltrating, dismantling, creating opposition. Building a counter-conspiracy to theirs. And eventually figuring out what makes them tick, how they operate. And expose them. Bring them into the limelight. Metaphorically, but sometimes even literally. After that, like I said, killing them is not that hard. The problem I'm facing in these lands is I've never had to deal with a situation where the vampires ran the land. There is no way I can... other than Muriel, and not even the other War Ravens are as keen on fighting them anymore, and well, you saw what happened to the... I assume you heard what happened to the mage that was brought in to just, as you said, it looks
Yes.
at you, Xerxes. Do you
yeah,
think...
that will not. Yeah. Yes, Mordenkainen was bested by the vampiric forces.
So where is that
I did
argument
hear about
about infinite power being the solution to everything? So,
I'm thinking.
What happened?
Well,
What
I do-
happened to that wizard anyway? What happened to that wizard anyways? Did he? The story did not seem to indicate that he died. Or at least did not die in the fight.
Rudolph just kind of shakes his head and says, I don't honestly know. It was before I came here, and I've only dealt with rumors. As he glances towards Muriel, and she'll add, he did take the approach Xerxes seems to hint at, where you can just try and wipe the castle off the... There was no real warning. I don't know what happened to him. I, like most others, just saw meteors falling down from the sky and explosions. It was I tried to get in as close as possible, but a battle between these people, it's a...
A clash of nature between forces, yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it seems to me that Mordenkainen, maybe a bit of proof arrogance, overestimated his own abilities, and was beaten by the other mage. Which I'm not sure if you know, but they do all. But the vampires unfortunately also have an archmage, who presumably did not only spend her time feasting on blood, and an archmage backed with an army against an archmage backed without an army. Well, plus whatever other mages. I'm not sure if the Count also has about his own magical skills and whatnot.
Rudolph speaks and says, I believe Ergyle called him stupid.
My plan, if I had the power to threaten the castle, would not be just walk up to the front gate and start throwing meteor showers.
Can you?
No, nowhere near close to that level.
You see, the problem with people who gain so much power, that they tend to become over-reliant on it. They tend to become arrogant. I'll be honest, Xerxes, I've not yet met an accomplished mage that didn't have an ego twice as big as his own capabilities. I've never met Elminster, but shock me if he was also arrogant.
I don't know. But yes, not as most mages at the academy were rather proud of their abilities.
And do you think that arrogance is not weakness a vampire can easily exploit? You are very incorrect.
Unfortunately, there's many. In fact, I myself tricked quite a few wizards back at the academy. Alas, even if I were to gain the same skill,
He just kind
certainly
of
first.
nods but says, well, then you understand the actual threat, why I think vampires are a dangerous foe. The ability to understand your enemy's mindset, the ability to manipulate your enemy, while in appearance may be less flashy, less impressive than raising endless hordes of undead and cracking reality into two. Empathy and the ability to understand your opponent, truly understand them, is, I think, the greatest power of this world. In the correct hands and with the correct mindset. But as you can see, one still needs that ability.
A certain degree of aluminum power. I took a review mostly. I do think this plucky band of adventurers We'll be unlucky to even sneak into the castle.
Esmeralda kind of shrugs, says, I did it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
impressed that the Archmage did not set up many alarms around the entire castle.
I think I'm just... God, do you think I'm just like that? Like, easy to defeat? You just like wave your magic wand and like I'll just fall over?
You know, I thought you were able to sneak into their own, into the higher ups' quarters. I assumed at least those were a bit more well guarded.
She just kind of looks away and says, well, keep your fragile ego intact then.
Whoa. How'd you even make that then? Getting into that place without getting caught and it was without too much injury?
State secret, right?
Oh, come on. Share trade.
Oh, listen, you said you know how to sneak into places. Like, what's the rule number 1?
Don't get caught.
Well, I mean, I'm asking for a guidebook on how to sneak in, not what not to do. But I guess you're correct.
I assume finding an entryway point. Most of the time they wouldn't notice. Stay quiet, stay stealthy.
Yeah,
I would normally just try to
How do you
place the
do
place
that
up.
though? How do you stay quiet and stay stealthy? Do you trigger alarms and like fall over like pottery?
I'm not an amateur at the very least. I hope not.
Exactly. So
That's what I usually do, yes.
you don't seem the sneaking type. They will probably see your head popping over the outer wall when you approach.
Possibly.
My point is, Magic Man, is that you understand the environment better than well, someone would like for you to. And once you understand your environment, there is no such thing as a unbreakable place. And I will keep my mouth shut about the rest.
I assume you snuck in as a servant then? Or maybe you did dodge all the guards and the alarms. In which case, it would be impressive.
I am quite impressive, yes.
Doxies will not say anything after that comment.
Yeah, if there's no other conversations you want to engage with.
Yeah. I think that's the ones of my list, at the very least.
Yeah, actually, we'll ask. I'll actually go to turn to Ruby for one last thing. So, what's your personal plan? Even as we've established, your friend is very impressive. Her stealth skills are very impressive. What's your plan to taking down an entire vampire court? Even if you can take out one, if you take out the count, well, the Archmage and the Steward are there, Commander and third, and if you take out them, there's more to follow up the ranks. And direct firepower we certainly lack to take out all of them.
Rudolph just kind of like says, which part of we will never have as much direct firepower as Mordenkainen had, and that clearly didn't work. So why would I attempt something that has already failed? I probably knew it would have failed, but well, he was here before me, so I couldn't warn him.
I mean, if Mordenkainen used his skills more effectively, and not just, I assume, stood in the hill and just wait to be counterspelled by the other Archmage, I digress.
Feel free to suggest an option, and you were asking my opinion, but what is your opinion?
I mean, my own personal.
We could track him down, try and find him.
That was actually one of my plans. Actually, it was before we left off.
Let's hear your ideas if you're so confident about them.
I mean, if I have infinite, I mean, I would just leave with Morton Kane and come back with reinforcements. I try the same strategy again, but with backup.
How would you
I
leave
think
this place exactly?
yes, that was my second point of research. But well, that's why I can. I also just finding Aragal, but that's a different project. Which is still
You
one of
assume
what I
that
think is.
the problem is Darkseid. Like every other wizard I've met, you think you're the smartest individual in the room, and you make all your strategies based on assumptions. You assume you will be able to leave once you have Ergal. You assume that if you try the same thing again, but it's you in charge this time, it will work out better. Which, listen, you may have a point. Maybe Morgan Keenan is just, as Argyle said, stupid. And you're smart. But I don't think someone gets to that level of competence with being stupid. And while intelligence and arrogance are not mutually exclusive, I think that approach is doomed to fail. I think fighting them where they're strongest is doomed to fail. Which is why we should fight them where they are at their weakest. In the towns.
Which do a popular revolution.
Sort of, but
Oh.
not the one where we take up arms and overthrow our ruler. A more spiritual revolution. My plan is to bypass their fortresses, mages, soldiers, and creatures of the night, and deal with their main power source. And outside of the cities, you will quickly pick up on it. You know already we are in the Shadowfell.
Spreading the Fander's light.
He nods.
Oh, Zaxi will actually say. Zaxi will actually. Knowing the past, I will withhold my judgment on trying to spread Lathander's light to the Shadowfell.
What? What? I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm sorry, Zach's kind of muttered on this word, basically thinking, is it kind of like, what's say, like, I should, he goes, like, ignoring the chance likelihood of actually spreading a constant influence in the fucking Shadowfell. But that's
Yeah.
But listen, I'll not judge you on that because I'm not sure. I'm not an expert, and it might work. Who knows? Can't still fight each other.
Well, I certainly think that I don't think it's impossible because otherwise, why would every
it's not.
city, with the exception of Perez, have a church, have a priest, have a dedicated following?
Oh no, it is not. I don't disagree with you there. But don't you find it weird that the vampires would just allow this to take place?
That is an unknown. I don't understand why they let this go on, but I have my working theories, and all of them indicate at the very least that they won't, as a response of the Morning Lord's expanding influence, they won't actually crack down on it. I don't think the vampires want this place to be overrun with Sharon. I think
in that case,
I genuinely think they are, in fact. Why do you think every large civilized land is surrounded by this protective aura of the Morning Lord?
Oh, I was about to say, actually, in that case, our fear is quite aligned. In fact, actually, I was about to mention that. So that's kind of what I asked, like, how exactly is, well, I guess you beat the chance, so it's kind of a little fantasy like, but...
I don't know how
It seems the
Mother
vampires
Night...
clearly don't disagree.
I don't know about that either. I don't know their inner court politics. I can only judge their intent by their previous actions. But what I know is that Valaki, Kretsk, and Barovia all have dedicated churches to the Morning Lord. And they're not like a new thing. They've been around for a long, long time.
Yes. I did try to find some history, even though sadly, mysteriously speaking though, all gone and withheld.
My point is that I don't know how Mother Night will react once the Morning Lord's influence spreads. I'm not sure if she's gonna send more servants, if her already existing servants will react poorly. But this could cause, potentially, infighting. We don't need to fight them. Get other people to fight them for us.
Actually, I thought, you know what, it's actually, I think the best bet, my other bet would have been to just assassinate leadership and hope a battle in court takes place between those trying to claim the mantle.
You
But I
need
think
something to cover that. If an outside force starts picking off leadership, the clan will rally together, even if they hate each other.
Yes. But I think honestly, Rudolph, I think your plan's honestly not the worst, honestly. Again, assuming Lady Shark cannot wipe out Lavandro's light. She'll probably, most gods, at least, that I know of, and Power especially, do not like their territory being encroached upon by other deities.
Then why is she allowing this to be here in the first place if she could have a choice about it?
Oh.
Or do
Well,
you
I
think
see.
she doesn't care about it? Because that doesn't sound like the Shar I know.
I assume. I don't know. I assume she does care, and I think she will give this place more attention. Well, honestly, I don't know. So also, I think
Didn't you
I don't
say you
doubt it.
met a Shar in Asimar that tried to flirt with you?
No, I wasn't flirting. It was more of a veiled threat.
How much more
Actually-
attention do you think you're gonna get?
Even though actually, it actually she does not actually. I do have my own fears about Charleston. Who knows? I think maybe we are already at that point where I think there's too much light has been shed on the Shadowfell.
I suppose there could be more Asimar swarming us, but I don't think that's gonna make much of a difference. She knows. She most definitely knows. In fact, you telling me there's one of them around just proves my point. She
Oh, no, I
probably
wasn't
is
disagreeing.
well aware
out
of
of
this
character,
place.
I wasn't disagreeing. Yeah. Oh no, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was mostly eventually, and especially if the vampires do encourage the offenders to spread, then probably having them in Sean's fight, I think, is the best shot. Out of character,
mind
Grant, I was
me.
not disagreeing with Rudolph, by the way. I'm not sure if you got that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Doctor was concurring, in fact, with Rudolph.
If you don't mind me asking, we've established the why of that, but how? I don't take it. Most of us don't have the. Look at Xerxes. Most of us don't have the attitude of preachers.
What does that mean?
Well,
You're not confident, and you don't seemingly believe in anything.
Cheshire.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to say like you don't know. Okay, I misunderstood what Cheshire said.
As Rudolph kind of like nods and looks at you, Cheshire, and says, I beg to differ. It is just what kind of... There are multiple types of preachers in the world, I've realized. One can spread an idea from multiple approaches. For example, you, Cheshire, you would make for a great paladin. Swing your sword around and just, after you kill the monster, say a prayer to the Morning Lord and bless the people, and there you go. Influence spread. Preacher mode activated.
Yes, I should also point out, when the Esma did approach me, it was in response to me helping out two people, which apparently made her consider me a hero enough, so...
That's concerning.
Yes, there's a reason why I'm a bit terrified and depressed. As I look at Esmeralda,
What? Who did you help? And what did you do?
That's Machina Arena. The former the former former mayoral family of
Yes, I know who they
of
are.
Barovia. There were some bandits. I believe they're like shadow spawn or some kind of natives to the Shadowfell in general. I helped dispatch them. And then next night the Asmer approached me. And in fact, she had a veiled threat of, which is why I also mentioned that I don't worry about my own escape here, of keeping me here, but also so I can do more good to this realm. I'm still thinking whether she's toying with me or is there an actual purpose to her, or an actual scheme ongoing, or somewhere in the
Karens
middle.
never do random things.
My thought exactly. I'm still trying to figure out the purpose of her actions and whatever scheme is at play.
Carl just kind of chuckles and says, "Well, you did teach my sister shadow magic."
I did not. I want to clarify. I did not. In fact, what I just did was help her awaken her sorceress abilities. Those abilities manifested on their own. What it is weird, in fact, that. But how old is her sister? 16?
I think she's a. I don't remember if I give her an.
I don't. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So I'm gonna. I think she was between 16 and 20. She was definitely on the younger side. I think.
Yeah, like definitely young.
Yeah. Let's agree on 18 or 19
Yes.
in the middle.
For 18.
It's yeah. What is strange is for a young adult, for a fact that a young adult at 18 years of age has not discovered any sorcerer's abilities before getting the contact with another magical practitioner. Either the only explanation for that is either their abilities are too weak, which we can discard because their abilities were in fact very potent, or something was keeping them from being activated, which might actually add to the Rudolph's theory of something keeping and Lathander's light. Perhaps maybe it was the protective aura of Lathander that kept the
Tell
shadows at bay.
me. Rudolph will look at you, Zarx, and says, "Tell me, what was your immediate reaction after this ASMR made those threats? How did you react to that?"
I think it was I attempted a bit of a joke and mostly.
No, but do you believe that? Did you try and go along with them, actually become this storybook hero you seemingly wanted to do, or did you perhaps go against the grain a bit?
I go against the grain. I didn't mention that in my pervert plan. Honestly, not the most. I'm more of a definitely not a storybook hero. No, definitely went against the grain.
I look at you, Xerxes, and I don't see a hero. I see someone who is terrified of powerful people. So if I was trying to manipulate you, I would pose as a very powerful individual to make you afraid, confused, and, well, see you maybe crack underneath the pressure of not knowing what I actually want because I asked you something that should be against my own interests, thus confusing your clearly analytical mind, at the same time putting pressure on you.
Could be. I'm still thinking what her
I will.
plan. Oh, sorry. Oh,
She
sorry.
seemed far more forward in this recollection of your talk than she was when I was there. She seemed quite reserved, at least to me.
No. She was in fact far more reserved than the first time we met. Again, my main problem is I'm still trying to figure out what the scheme even would be. Again, I think
he just said it. I think she wanted to see you break under the idea of either having to face danger or potentially face her wrath.
But to what end specifically?
Enjoyment. Have you never met a cruel person before? Somebody who revels in their ability to hurt others?
Quite a few, but as for
Then yes, actually, that could just be it. the grand scheme of things, we are not that important.
Yes, but unfortunately for you, Cheshire, she wasn't Asthma, and while Asthma do vary in strength, not everyone is equal. Even the weakest of Asthma are still immortals, after all. At the very least, and those do not grow on trees.
Do their
At least-
bones still break?
They do, but they do go back eventually.
That's good. That means I get to have fun twice.
So even the weakest of ASMRs, even if I can best her in the fight, it's still weird that an ASMR directly approached me. A random shower-eyed priest? Sure, whatever, but
Excuse me, how many Sharons did you interact with in like your total of 2-3 weeks you've been here?
I interacted with two, and I was invited into their camp.
Like Rudolph just kind of like stares a bit at this.
I did not know who Shaw was before I came here.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't. I'm surprised her grasp on this place is so weak. I guess Lathander was doing a good enough job to keep her away. Or I guess they do prefer their shadows. They don't prefer open temples.
You were approached by 2 Sharon priests in the first month you're here and invited to one of their major outposts. And
Yes, which is why I assume it's more than just a pointless cruelty for cruelty's sake at play. But that's what Shah suspects.
I think I need some sleep. This is, well, clearly more at play, but
I agree with that. Sadly, and these kinds of investigations are beyond me. Usually, I like to investigate ancient ruins and jungles.
well, we're about to see a powerful wizard tomorrow, so I guess you could call his tower somewhat of a ruin.
Let's hope Esmeralda, Esmeralda and Sage and Miro can be quick about it, and we can and quick and quiet, and we can get away quickly from a lich. Well, I did fight a lich before once. It was not. It was with a few other mercenary companions, and I was not standing in front of them.
It will be fine. Don't worry.
Luckily, we won't. Normally, if things go well, there should be no fighting needed. Yeah, with that, he'll probably get up and head to his tent. As will everyone retire if there's no other further conversations?
Yeah, Sage is off to bed.
Yeah. As everyone's like breaking. Well, I mean, of course. Josiah will go to wherever Carl's tent, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, she is in there. I was in chat. Sorry, I should not read chat. Should actually say. You mentioned it before. Helping me to read.
Yeah, of course. Catch a few late night lessons. Like, kind of searches to one of his small bags and pulls out this like a folded piece of paper. Has like a couple of like you can see a couple of flowers drawn onto the page as several words as well, arranged in what appears to be short sentences stacked upon one another. Well, shall we? Like starts gesturing for the word and the letters.
Yeah, Josiah will look at them. she'll try to follow the lesson.
Start teaching you the shape of the letter, some of the meanings of some of the words, as eventually you'll both go to sleep after a bit. As we will take like a 15-minute break because I need to kick out the dogs, and then I'll be right back.
They're
for the
pissing and
wizard
shitting there,
meeting.
but they're opening the door.
their freedom. Go.
We don't need you, father.
That was very heartwarming, Zaz. I'm
was
gonna
very
be
heartwarming.
honest. I'm rooting for the Cheshire and Carl thing, whether it turns romantic or not.
I think it's no. I think it's. What do you mean, will?
Look, I don't want to put pressure, just in case.
What
things
do you
happen.
mean, will? What do you mean, will?
Listen, we don't put pressure on people for romantic plots.
There's like this is like the fucking surefirest, the surefirest of pets over here. He fucking proposed.
Listen, it's gonna be funny because like the real reason to do this is also so Cheshire can laugh about being called a paladin. Well, mostly because the part that Cheshire is laughing about is the idea of like swearing fake oaths to Lathander. Like, I don't actually worship him.
Yeah, I was just like, we're gonna do a religious scam. I love this old man. I'm sorry.
And Cheshire doesn't really feel comfortable like taking the god. Cheshire is very superstitious. The idea of just taking the names of the gods and using them, swearing oaths to them when you don't mean them.
That's also true.
Xerxes opens his book. Let me teach you something. You know, how to conduct him many tricks. In fact, let me teach you how to change classes. Amy Withers, show up here. Let me give you some 100 gold to change classes real quick.
Old man shows up.
Also, though, Cheshire is totally willing. Asmar are immortal and basically can't die. Great. That just means I get to have more fun I can keep killing her till she fucking leaves.
Asmar do have a wild range of fucking, you know. You do sometimes have the bad fuck. You do sometimes roll the nat one of being bonus in Asmar. And just kind of born as a wimp who just can't die.
That's great. I can fucking crush her bones, crush her skull until she, and then I can just do it again.
Yeah,
that's not wrong. Like Asmars, if you start with them, they don't really have any ability. They still the train like an immortal human being.
Yes. Again, yeah. So like, yeah, unless your fucking parent trains you, you're really getting repeatedly beaten up. And or at worst be harvested by fucking someone. Give me those wings.
Like the thing is, it's like Night Song and like Baldur's Gate 3. They call an Asma, but she's very clearly just like an angel.
Yeah, she's an angel. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's directly the daughter. She's directly the daughter.
Yeah, she's directly the daughter. She's just an angel.
She's different.
Night Song especially. Even without it's most of her powers comes to the fact that she's literally descended from Seluna.
Yeah, the game even acknowledges like she's not necessarily just she has direct bloodline.
No, Zaki is well aware that there is potential that he can probably beat fucking Mivo in a fight. It's just that even if she's not fucking super high rank, if she's not the most super high ranking Asimar, they're still kind of rare. He's still kind of just like back up.
That lucky whole person. We just start wailing on her. I assume that'll get us somewhere. Yeah,
the problem with Zarkis does not think it's that easy. I don't. Zarkis,
I don't know. Tashire's starting to think it might be that easy because, like, she clearly wasn't making threats when she was in the presence of somebody who would respond to threats by trying to kill her.
That's also true. That's
a very interesting thing.
That's true.
I think Rudolph is actually more current than we realize. Zarkis
is thinking like if he could throw a fireball at her. If he throws a fireball at her, then her buddies will will fucking cut his throat in the sleep.
There's another thing Rudolph pointed out that I think is also true as well. She's like, she did it because she needed you to do something for her. With Xerxes, it's threats, so that's what she used. But I don't know if Xerxes was like a much different personality close to Cheshire. She might have did something else. Like when she met Shade, she tried to cut a deal instead of trying to threaten my life or intimidate me.
Maybe the answer is just throwing a fireball at her. Maybe that is the answer.
Maybe I should just break her.
Maybe because he's Zarkis because he's a sorcerer. He's learned not to rely on his power too much because they do sometimes backfire on him. Zarkis does know that fireball is not the answer to everything. No, Zarktis does no. Unlike no, because we have not fixed the door of D&D that much. Fireball is the answer to a lot of things, actually, but not to all of them. So his mind's like, I can't just fireball her. That's gonna be that easy. But I do like grunts fucking hear ideas of fucking politics and whatnot.
Explain the Grunt. That's a great theory. Explain the vampire on page
Yeah.
73 of the mega dungeon. That's just a random encounter.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, like what great political power does he gain? Like liches fucking are far more like you described. Liches actually do that more. They've had a kingdom in fear who had multiple. Yeah, like liches and devils kind of do that, Grunt, not the vampires. The idea of these
It's very funny. It's very, very funny.
Yeah.
The thing is that is how vampires work in the Ravenloft campaign setting, where Rudolph is from.
Yeah, but the problem is Grunt prompting them in the fucking in the story because I was like, why vampires? I respect your work, I guess, because fuck vampires, I suppose. But like there's also the devils and the fucking liches and the fucking evil the Sharons, the fucking ball eyes, the cults. There's a long list of people who like work like that. It's not just vampires. In fact, there are people who do work like that who not only have that fucking idea of mindset, but do have the ability to throw fireballs. There are many devils who do work like that, Rudolph.
I forgot another vow. How many vows do I have?
I really need an easy vow. Holy shit. My fucking vows are difficulty 4, escape Barovia. Then there's more than Kano, but sadly I did abandon that quest.
You have one about trying to figure out the Sharon plot.
Yeah,
you do.
but that's a fucking 5 one.
Oh,
That's a
what
fucking-
about what is I? Well, I assume Mave's part of that one. Then she
what?
probably. I didn't know if you had one specifically for Mava, whatever. Yeah, you know what the fuck about the SMR.
Miva is part of the fucking like figure out the Sharon plot.
Yeah,
Because,
I thought so as well.
no, because Miva is not he does not care about Miva specifically. He thinks Miva is just an agent in the fucking unless she's the fucking equivalent of Night Song.
Mm-hmm.
I think. What if she does actually just like you though?
Yeah, well, she likes you.
Nah.
She was
Which
coming
is-
pretty strong onto you, and you did did basically like ask her to take her clothes off the second time you met her. Like didn't even like take her out for dinner. Just asked her for her armor.
Sadly, I do not intend to take the Dark Elder romance. I am not too interested in that one right now.
I believe. Look, there's still 3. You have 2 possible beauties, and then you also have Mordenkainen. You have 3 possible romantic choices here.
I'm looking more at Mordenkainen than Kazan.
Don't fumble this one.
You see, I prefer men.
Go for what you want in your heart, man. It's calling for you, Mordenkainen.
Yeah, my heart's calling for cock.
So
I
go
do
put
love
that in
how
quotes.
Rudolph has been fashioned into an anti-Mac PC. But what if this bad thing happens? That's already happening. But like, what if this goes wrong? That already happened, though.
This is Zox.
That has already happened.
This Zox is not disagreeing with you. He's mostly nodding along. He mostly agrees with most of the
I know. I'm not saying Zoxys. I said to you, Mac.
Cock, not cuck.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I apologize. Of course you would know how to spell it. Let me go fix it.
Of course. It's one of my prime interests.
Interesting.
You think jokes about I prefer men are jokes? You think I'm not a proud cocksucker?
You want Rack? You can't. I'm typing as fast as I can. Give me a second. Can't keep giving me good material here. we all know I'm a slow typer. If nothing else, I'm very excited to meet Mordenkainen. I hope this romantic interest blooms into something beautiful.
I have a fear about Mordenkainen. I have two fears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the romantic interest will bloom.
Aw.
Mordenkainen does kind of like women.
No.
Canonically.
Yeah, that's what. That's one.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one.
canonically? Ah, damn.
Also, canonically, he likes having relationships with his much younger apprentices.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Tasha famously was one of
Yeah.
Tasha infamously was
Oh.
Tasha is considered in university. Very weird because like Tasha was like 40 years younger than him at the time.
No! Ah.
Yeah. Mordenkainen.
No, we can fix it. We can retcon that. We can retcon that.
Brunt will in fact retcon that once he finds that out.
I don't think he will.
No!
I don't think he will. I think, in fact, I don't think he will. If it makes you feel better, like Tasha didn't actually love him. She was literally, and I kid you not, literally just like trying to like get close to him so she could like get one over on him and steal like a powerful spell so she could go to hell and make a deal with Gratz, who she would later have a kid with. Ives, the literal god of torture.
Slay Queen.
Yeah, no, that's the person she actually got with in the end. Again, Gratz, Demon Prince, and again the kid Ives, literal evil god of torture and death.
You think she's proud of her kids? You think they have like?
She is actually. She is actually. She is actually very
She's a
proud
good
of
mom.
her.
Yeah.
She's a good mom.
Tasha is actually not a good person.
Genuinely. Well,
Yeah, I know that
the
from
only
the-
person, literally, the only person Ives likes is his mom, is his mother.
Yeah, I kind of get that from the because I didn't know much about Tasha outside of the small bit of lore in her spell book, of course. But then I read because I was originally going to run the circus campaign one, and I'm like, wow, she kind of sounds like not a great person. This one, I'm not sure if this is intended, but
It is intended, in fact. Yeah.
she sounds like a giant asshole. Actually, I'm not sure why people love this lady.
Yeah, no, Tasha is terrible. Tasha is awful. And like every famous D&D character, she's a former player character who according to the lore, which means that is a fun thing to note.
Wait,
like
what?
more than yes, she is.
Wow.
Yes, most of the famous D&D characters, like Mordenkainen, is Gary Gygax's wizard.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Again, a bunch of NPCs do get
all of the Circle of Eight, Bigby, Tensor, all of them are former player characters.
and a lot of dangerous modules. One like against Strahd famously was just an NPC from a game that someone like developed upon.
Wow. Okay. I
A lot of
didn't know that.
yeah,
Thank you
a
for
lot
the
of
lore. I didn't know.
a lot of lore characters are either NPCs or PCs from the OG D&D games of like
That
fucking Gary Gygax and
explains
friends.
a lot, actually. That explains a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, Curse of Strahd was just written to make fun of like the again, you know the bit of the
Strahd was literally developed because the guy who wrote it, Tracy Hickman, literally there was a dungeon where there was just a random vampire encounter.
I was about to say, yeah. Again, Strahd originally was in fact that one random vampire in the fucking encounter list.
God, oh my God.
That's why I will keep bringing that up. Yeah. But what about the random vampire on the random encounter list?
Ever since I started playing, talking about Curse of Strahd, my recommendations is talking about this apparently a bunch of book series that people say are like better characters for Strahd. I'm not sure if that's true or not, though.
Ravenloft does have a lot of books in it. Arguably, that's the problem. Ravenloft never worked really well as a D&D setting because it's a horror setting.
Yeah, because
D&D
apparently
does
the
do horror.
books. Apparently the books expand way better for his character than anything any D&D module could do, which is like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm not sure if I want to buy it. Oh, hey, hey, Grunt.
Hey.
Hello, Grunt. We just read about the D&D lore.
I didn't know. Yeah, I got some new lore.
About how Mordenkainen and basically almost all of the famous like D&D like lore characters, a lot of them are just player characters.
Yeah, we did also mention
Mordenkainen is just Gary Gygax's the wizard.
Yeah, and we did explain that Strahd is in fact that random vampire from the random encounter list. That one of Gary Gygax's friends decided to make into a module.
Listen, I took a look at Mordenkainen and read his wiki page, and I was like, I know this guy's personality.
Yeah, yeah. You do. You
He
do.
is Gary Gygax from fucking Lake Geneva.
Yeah, which is why I was like, Red. I don't think I'm gonna date that one.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I don't know. I was getting
No,
excited.
luckily
You're
for you,
telling me
Red,
more.
I don't know what they're talking about, so it's fine.
Okay,
He
good.
did. Mordenkainen did canonically get involved into a romantic and sex relationship with an apprentice who was, in fact, many decades his younger. That was Tasha. That was Tasha.
Listen, not the worst of crimes.
It's not the worst of crime, but it's still like kind of like unethical.
Mac, have you looked at outside the window and saw the GCU? What? I'll
That's
remind
true.
you, this
But
doesn't
GCU said
this doesn't scale like even halfway past the chart.
that's true. But Grant, sadly, if I go to court for murdering someone, I can't point at Adolf Hitler as my defense. Unfortunately, I don't think that's how it works.
That's how it works in the GCU, baby. So, as morning arrives, you all pack camp, going back on the road. As well, it's probably gonna take you the entire day or so, at least until sunset is upon you. But as you're traveling, eventually you will split off, whereas the group that has to approach the tower as potential guests is made out of Xerxes, Cheshire, Carl. Actually, no, Carl will stay in the car.
Get the fuck away, Carl, from this man.
Yeah, no, that's
Chester would be Xerxes' bodyguard.
Carl.
That's gonna be the pit here.
Yeah, Carl will in fact be the getaway driver.
Yeah.
It'll be Cheshire, Xerxes,
Keep
and
the
Will.
horses. Keep the horses turned on.
As
Galloping in place.
yeah, you three will approach the tower as it sits on this like lonely, outstretched piece of land
I see Van Richten's tower.
with Sorry, Mac, what was that?
No, sorry, because you named in Foundry even Van Richten's tower.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you can change the Foundry names or they're like file
I
determined.
can, Mac, but that was before I read the actual like story for the module.
Ah, okay, I see.
I named these after what the art is called, and
Ah, I see.
unfortunately,
Okay,
the piece of art is
yeah.
called...
I kind of figured that. I was just sorry. I just gotta point it out because it's kind of funny.
I will shoot you next time. As yeah, you approach this decrepit old tower, and you can now understand why some people called it a ruin. It doesn't look like it's in the best condition, but you approach it nonetheless. And as you sort of arrive at the front door, it opens with a creak as you see this old-looking man, pale, completely white, looks like a walking cadaver. Finely dressed, though. As he, like, glances at you with indifference, almost.
Greetings. You must be the wizard Kazan. My name is Xerxes. This to my left is Cheshire, and to my right is Rudolph. Pleasure making your acquaintance.
Likewise, what brings you here, Xerxes of the Demon Blood?
Mostly a first for there's a grunt to point me at Kazan. Yeah, the fucking third attempt of this picture. He's doing many roles in GCU anyway. Mostly first for knowledge. I'm a recent outsider, and you are one of the only two wizards I know in this land. And seeing as the other one is busy with running the court, I would ask if it would be possible to have a chat with you between two fellow practitioners of the arcane arts. I am owning this land for a short amount of time, and I wanted to ask you some questions.
Was the conversation never killed anyone? As he like steps to the side and gestures for all of you to walk in.
I mean, yeah.
As you walk in, the inside looks much better, as it does look like it's lived in. It's all seemingly very neatly organized, as he will lead you off to a table and this sort of like main area that seems to act as a living room, as you can all like take seats, and you can see this the door to a room off to the side opens, as you can see flying in a tray of looks like sort of snacks and drinks, as it gets kind of placed on the table as Kazan also like takes a seat.
Yeah, I'll take probably like a glass of fucking distilled wine is available.
No, actually,
Oh, sorry.
it's actually tea.
Ah, tea, nice. Oh, nice, actually.
No, we've met the only non-alcoholic in all of Barovia.
You can remark on that if you want.
I don't know.
No.
You should though. Are you a coward?
No. Unfortunately, I, Zas, am. You must separate the character from the actor.
Yeah. It was Zoxys needs to have a barrage of questions to pop off to this man. So first off, how long were you in these lands yourself?
Quite a long time.
I assume centuries?
You assume
Doesn't
correctly.
sense.
But
See.
let's make this a conversation. What brings you here?
Well, honestly, a thirst for knowledge. You are a powerful sorcerer, as a
I don't mean to my doorstep. I mean in
Oh.
Barovia.
ah. Well, honestly, it was a. Honestly, it's a mystery that we're still trying to figure out. We're dropped off by a Vistani. Without any indication, which usually is not the norm. And I didn't even get to see him. I just saw the mist approach me while I was traveling on the road.
As well as against your will then.
Your Zox will nod.
Truly they are a menace. I do not understand why the court still works with them.
Well, having the ability to traverse the mist is quite a useful skill to possess if you want to import stuff.
They're not the only ones that can manipulate the mess.
That is true, but I'm not sure what I'm not sure if you're. What the price that the local Sharons demand of them. I'm not sure about the relation of the court and the Sharite cults.
Do you wish to leave this place?
Honestly, yes, but nothing in life comes free, and as far as I can tell, there's only two real options: either the Sharons or the Vistani.
It's not true. I can open a portal through the mists for you. And I am part of neither group.
Well, guys, adios. Hasta la vista, baby. Bye. Oh no. I actually kind of shocked and surprised at that. Actually, fucking get fucking flashbanged by that.
I think the plan's failing apart, Cheshire.
Yeah, Cheshire is going to. Cheshire will say, yeah, Cheshire will announce it's a bold, it's certainly a claim.
He kind of just says, I have no reason to lie. I would merely require service provided.
And what would that be?
Well, I need something, or rather someone, brought out with you when you leave.
What would that person be?
Particular Vistani.
Oh no. That's a particular Vistani of a name.
That's irrelevant.
Pardon me for asking. I'm not sure if you're willing to state your curiosity because of a nice curiosity, but where exactly did you learn the art to traverse the Shadowfell? Outside of the Sharans, and a few other skilled dimension travelers, only the Vistani seem to be able to possess that skill. Unless you are just a powerful wizard, of course.
I never said I never worked with the Sharans. I just don't believe in the same things they do. Or worship their god.
I assume you cut a few deals with them in the past, I presume?
Most people around here have. So, there's my deal. You leave the place, you have to take one Vistani out. I don't... After that, free to do whatever you wish. And... It seems like you've had to suffer because someone has any idea about what pranks mean. Or you have upset someone. I'm not sure exactly what your full extent of your relationships go with these people.
If only Xerxes was here alone. Anyway, I digress. My only worry about this is I will certainly I see the Vistani is not here. I take it?
No. If I had them in my possession, I wouldn't require your services.
I thought so.
But as he looks at Cheshire, your bodyguard should be up to the task.
While a name might not be relevant, the description will be most welcoming. Or at least a general area or indication of where they might be.
Are you agreeing to this deal then?
My main worry is I'm not sure why I was brought in here. I want to certainly note down that you are a possibility of escape.
Which is why, if we agree to this, we will sign the magical contract that binds both of us to truth upon pain of destruction. If I somehow trick you and send you somewhere else or fail to fulfill my part, After you've done yours, I will be nothing but a clump of dust. And the same would go for you as well.
Fortunately. Alas. I'm still trying to find the person who brought us here to figure out why we were brought here to avoid the unfortunate scenario of us walking out of here, just be brought back in here.
Well, this Argyle of yours will not be able to bring you back in. Of that, I can assure you. I will even stipulate it in the contract. If you were to be brought back here, I will immediately assist you without any other requirements.
Only Zox was here alone, goddamn.
I know. Why I send you as a group so you can like fight one another.
Peter Shire is looking at you, Zoxys.
The Zox is kind of thinking mostly.
Ostensibly, she's just the bodyguard.
Yeah, that's kind of mostly Zoxys was mostly thinking, and it's kind of trapped in thought for but he will sip his tea as
Just curious though to find you in the company of the famous architect. Although maybe not so much since you're both clearly academics.
Yes, not many intellectuals and there.
Rudolph, would you mind accompanying me to show you to some of my structural problems that you could probably give some advice? And the old man nods as the two of them will get up and sort of walk upstairs. Leaving you alone. There's any sort of glances or whispers you want to exchange.
Going to look at Zoxys. We are not taking that fucking deal. Got it?
Zoxys would just nod.
Good. Good.
Well, listen. There are nice liches. Unfortunately, Cheshire is right next to him with a giant axe.
Once he comes back, just like talk to him, betray your entire crew.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure where on the lich spectrum this lich also falls.
He's been upfront with you and he's given you cookie and tea. I mean,
that's on the nicer end of the lich spectrum. He's not one of the fucking guys who lives in the fucking neighborhood. But I'm not sure if he's on the benevolent philosopher king level of fear.
The thing is, he did say that you will be signed. Like he is like the magical hunter.
Yeah.
Is a thing that he.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
He doesn't trust you, but he's understanding that you don't trust him either. So listen.
Yeah.
As about 10 minutes later or so, 15 minutes later, you will come back down as they are discussing sort of certain points. As this place is not looking like it has been properly built in some time, and the outside could use a lot of work. Rudolph, after all, is an architect, so why not? As they both sit down as Zahn looks at you, Xerxes says, well, have you made up your mind? We can hash out the details, maybe. The contract details would make you more at ease as he gestures for the stairs. If you wish to discuss this.
I'm a bit surprised that this offer even was. I did not expect a third way out besides the Sharns or the Vistani.
Well,
But for now,
the Vistani are crooks that will try and scam
Yes.
you. And
I've learned that personally.
are they are pathological liars that will try and put you in a position where they can abuse and take advantage of you. Does not surprise me.
Yes, I've learned that myself. But alas, I'm as unfortunate situation as I am, and I am for now I don't know, consider my option to speak, and also still explore the land and take some notes before I head out. Not much as I'm not sure how much literature there exists outside of
I understand.
Shadowfell in general.
I understand.
Not to mention entire little.
Seem to be under the misunderstanding that this is the permanent offer that will not change. I can see where my miscommunication. Must forgive me. I am not the best when it comes to talking. This is a right now offer because in the future, who knows what can change. That of Vistani we are speaking right now is in a certain place and certain time, which I have knowledge of. Should that change? Should they do something that will further hamper my ability to conduct my own research in peace? The offer will inevitably be different, if available at all.
Well, in that case, I'll take the risk because I assume once I sign the contract, it'll be then the retrieval will also be timed, and I doubt I can drag Sedvestani along in my merry little adventures throughout the land and whatnot.
Might find that quite difficult once you are being. Well,
Yes.
let us discuss the finer intricacies of the contract as he again gestures for the stairs to his office.
Yes. For now, I'll just politely decline. As I said, my desire for exploring this land is for now greater than leaving it, and call it foolish naivete. Yeah.
Now, are you just bullshitting out of your ass? Because Cheshire is here, Xerxes. Because it kind of feels like it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
why don't you roll me
definitely.
secure an advantage with wits? Because you
So
are
it's safe
kind of
to
lying to people here. To this man specifically.
It's time to get that misty step ready.
Not gonna kill you in his own house. You're yes.
Midst of a
Holy
match.
shit!
It's a 10-10. Yeah, it's a 10-10. It's a miss of a match. So yeah, time for misty step.
It kind of looks at you and says, "I don't know." But since you did venture out of your way, I haven't talked with someone from the outside in a long while. I did have this book on theories of infernal magic that I want to see if there's been any new developments since. well, 3 centuries ago, I believe it was dated. Would you mind coming and having a look at it?
God damn, this is the fucking trap of traps. Yeah, he'll just nod.
Yeah. Then lead you up the stairs, as Rudolph is very panicked at you, Cheshire.
Yeah. Oh, is Castrano accompanying me?
Are you gonna? Well, let's see.
In that case, I'll be back. I'll ask him like if we, because I assume my bodyguard will accompany me. Because if not, his doctor will say. Like,
Kazan will say, "You are no threat. If I wanted to inflict harm upon you, do you think a simple bodyguard will be enough to protect you? You are honored guests, my friends, and the law of hospitality forbids me from doing any harm onto you as long as you behave as my guests."
I see you're just as kind as the other. Still one that in fear I spoke with.
The law of hospitality is a treasured, sacred tradition here. Only madmen and fools would go against it, and I'm neither.
I see his Oxys will nod. Yeah.
Up the stairs you go. Mess with
Listen.
the match. That's a bad time for it, or rather,
Listen, as I
good
said,
time for the
I-
dramatics.
I'm a slave to the story and the dramatics.
Like once they leave, once they leave, like we'll look at the professor. Do we hope that he won't break, or do we go loud?
He clenches his teeth. Have to stick to the plan. He's he signs that deal, he can only be bound to it himself. He won't be able to drag us into it. And I'll be honest, Cheshire, if he signs that deal, I don't think he's an ally I want on my side.
Shia will nod.
Yeah. Xerxes, after you go up the spiraling staircase into a second floor, as you can see it's full of books and scrolls, again neatly arranged. As Kazan will kind of lead you to one of the books, and as he pulls it out, says, "Why are you in such fear of your companions? It is strange for someone to dread their own bodyguard. Be honest with me. I believe I've been honest with you. I think I deserve the same courtesy."
Listen, because I'm on the lit scale. He's definitely on the nicer scale. Now, if we put him on a universal scale, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure.
We can't.
Who are you? Just listen. Don't justify it. Do act.
Yeah, no. I'm a man of the story, so unfortunately, time to sink the plan. As Xerxes will kind of sigh. Well, let's just say my companion has certainly a different opinion on the contract. A strong one, so to speak.
Why? Why does that bother you? Why are you afraid of that?
Perhaps. Well, it's because it's a well, there's the primary threat of there being a bit of a implicit threat behind that's one that disagreement. But I know you could potentially work against that. I'm sure it'd be more than easy to best her in combat. But I also but in all fairness, I do not wish that for her because she did help me out. It's
Wish to harm anyone. I don't want you to kill this Vistani. I don't want you to harm them. I merely need someone. Take them through the mist onto the other side.
well, the primary reason for me being afraid was that a little implicit threat from my companion.
Sounds like you have rather a poor choice of companions if they threaten you.
Well, my other choice, not many other crowds around, so to speak. There's the vampires, there's the Showrites, there's the Vistani, and apparently also druids in the forest who are Sharon aligned. And well, they sadly get entangled with some rather unsavory business. And honestly, so out of all the choices, this little fellowship down at the table was by far the best. The woman, let's just say she has a certain way with words, or, well, lack thereof, it's more she likes to speak over muscles in her hats.
Be that as it may, I feel like they were influencing your choice. I will bring up again. I can help you leave this place.
Now, I do have a question for you, Mr. Kazan. I'm sure your influence can deal with the Vistani. I'm not sure what their. I'm not. Do you know what their deal with the carrying the mist is? Does he also make a deal with the Sharns longer, or you just do not know?
I have my theories, that being one of them, but they do like to keep their secrets, and unfortunately for myself, they have kept their secrets for a long, long time. And they don't like keeping written records, so everything you hear is rumor, myth.
Oral traditions. Yes,
Yes.
very, very, very messy business.
So I have, but I also they were never my main area of interest.
Yes, but would you also be able to deal with the, well,
I can
the second group
make
of
sure
interest,
that
the
they will.
Sharans? No, the Vistani I'm much less worried about. The Sharans, though.
What
See,
about them?
I got entangled in some rather unknown business which I want to figure out, and whereas the Vistani, I don't think that one Vistani might have been just a prankster, and I don't think the Vistani overall will care to hunt me down. I did think it involves some business which I do intend to uncover first, especially because even if you will just immediately teleport me out. Although they do have influence outside. Quite a few tales about nobles and politicians being snapped by Sharan assassins.
Shar has influence everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere there is a shadow, Shar will have influence. What is?
I'm sorry. Just well, as I said, I want to find out. I was weaved in some kind of Sharan plot, and I don't believe that plot is over yet. And if I leave now, their anger might be taken out outside.
Puts the book
Which is
back
why-
on the shelf and says,
Which is why I asked about your capabilities in terms of.
I can help you inside here. Outside, it's your world, your rules, your people.
Precisely. Which is
But-
why
I will point this out to you. If you think you are the target of a Sharon scheme, do you think you will ever be able to go outside and not continue being the target of one? This doesn't seem like the sort of threat that you can ignore. This just seems like the sort of threat you should take care of it. Somewhere
Precisely.
where they don't have all the cards, maybe. Do you think they will be more powerful outside, or do you think they will be weaker outside? If I were to fight the Sharons, I would definitely not choose the Shadowfell as a battlefield.
That much is certainly true, but did not nearly hold all the cards here. I'm not an expert on the Shadowfell, but this land is not precisely. Not as I remember from the basic lessons at the academy.
They don't hold the cards here, but the cards that they don't hold are kept quite safe by people you don't seem to be good friends with.
I'm not, but I'm certainly not enemies.
Like I said, this offer stands right now, right here. You wish to pass it on because you're afraid of a Sharon scheme, I will not stop you. I have pointed out potential problems you may face, but if you think you stand a better chance of dealing with it here, well, you know what's best for you. It is regrettable, but not every deal works out.
Still a pleasure meeting you, Kazan, and it is rare to meet a Lechucan whom you can have such a nice conversation with, unfortunately. Many of your kinds do prefer to sit out in basements and in rotten castles, run mostly by skeletons.
One thing that I would enjoy rotting in a castle, as long as I would be left in peace, but as you can see, people like you do tend to visit me.
I doubt you have as many problems with paladins as your other compatriots outside in Faerun.
If only I could kill my problems away. I see points for the staircase.
I see. As artists will walk down.
Yeah, you see the Cheshire, you see the two of them return, and I will say, if there's nothing else here, I think should be on your way. Rudolph, I will requisition the materials you need from Valaki and Kretsk, and once they've gathered the supplies, I will shout for you. It should take them about a month or so. As the old man nods. You have been delightful guests, but I will require you to leave unless you have accommodations issues. In which case, I may be able to find a spare room for you to sleep in.
How late is it outside?
It's around 6 p.m. It's always
6 p.m.
cloudy and moody here.
But is it close to nighttime? That's the most important question.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
As Rudolph will just sort of look at you, Xerxes, and Hazan and nod says, "Thank you for your hospitality. We shall be taking our leave then."
Yeah. Xerxes will politely bow. Stayed outside.
Gonna say out of character if you're like, I don't want to travel at night, because I'm like, why? The roads are actually, in fact, the safest at night. What do you mean? Why would you be afraid of vampires? And well, they work for us. Only like conspirators and criminals would be like afraid of like the official forces. You wouldn't be with those, would you?
No.
And have a were raven. But yeah, as the
You
three
wouldn't
of
happen to be a dirty fucking terrorist, would you?
as yeah, the three of you will take your leave politely as you will exit the tower. As we will quickly glance as while they were doing this, Sage, you, Muriel, and Esmeralda approach the tower after they sort of entered, as Esmeralda will sort of seemingly as you walk, the mist sort of envelops all of you into a thick fog. As she looks at you, Sage, and kind of winks.
Ah, she's a impressed look on her face.
So don't tell the horned one.
My lips are sealed.
As before you realize, you sort of you are not stepping on the wet damp ground, but on hard surface wood. As you do hear some noise downstairs. You realize you're in the tower. Poorly lit room, but for you it's not really an issue. Nor is for Muriel. I think only Esmeralda is struggling. As Muriel sort of says, well, have a look around the place, see if you like find anything.
Yeah.
As now I think the gather information roll. And I think you can add your
Keen senses or
street urchin. Yeah, that's the one.
okay. That +1 basically.
+1, yeah. Hope you're not a miss with the match. Okay.
Why would you say that before I do it, Grunt? You gotta give me the belief.
Because then you might just blow you up.
I can't add another 2. I'm at the highest for momentum right now.
As you investigate this place, it's most of it looks like magical artifacts, so you're very careful with what you touch and what you move around. There's like 3 rooms here. As you check through all of them, there is no sign of any sort of struggle or any place that would have like kept someone bound. But you do find a note that draws your attention. And it appears to be some sort of correspondence between Kazan and Rahadin. And as you sort of read the message, you realize they are discussing someone who appears to be a potential problem for them. Someone that they referred to as Madam Ava. And apparently they've figured about her and they believe she will be a problem now. They want to get her out. Eventually the rest you kind of glance. There's no Argyle. You can't really find him here. As eventually you all back around, regroup. As Esmeralda says, well, there's one more place to check. Let's hope they keep the conversation going. As the mist envelops you again, and you now find yourself in a much less pleasant place to be, as you are in some sort of underground basement. As it doesn't smell that aired. This looks like a place you could probably keep prisoners. There's a couple of cages, some bigger in size than others. But again, you glance around, and other than some, well, let's call them experimental tools, which you can assume only can be used by some rather interesting doctors or torturers. There is no one here. And there does appear to be, though, near one of the places where there's some chains. There does seem to be kind of dried blood, like old dried blood that hasn't been properly cleaned. As the kind of Esmeralda sort of swears underneath her breath.
Yeah, he's not here, so either he was moved or the information is way out of date.
Well, yes, we know something, and as you gather back, you'll walk as you are now back on the edge of the lake. As you see Cheshire Xerxes and a very angry looking Rudolph walking out of the car.
Yep. Cheshire is going to very hand on his shoulder. Did you take that deal, Devil Man?
I did not.
Good, because if you did, you'd be dead. Now or later.
Whoa, what did I miss?
Some intense negotiations.
Looks at Cheshire's hand on his shoulder, looks at the angry Rudolph, looks back at Xerxes.
Esmeralda kind of draws everyone's attention to a point behind you, as Mivach is just kind of standing there, like watching all of you with a smirk. Well, I hope it was a entertaining talk.
It was boring, like most of the talks I've had here.
Yes,
Talking to
but what about you, Xerxes? Was it boring for you as well, or did you perhaps make a deal?
Talking to a peaceful lich is always exciting. They may be even the most pleasant of liches are so somewhat evil, but you don't get it there without. But look, most certainly interesting, so to speak.
Reflecting on the question doesn't make me forget about it, you know.
If you ask whether I took the offer he made, the answer is no. I already rejected your offer, even if
He
only
made
one.
you an offer. That's interesting. I thought you would be the one offering. Curious. You're a curious individual. You all are. What was the offer he made you?
It would be impolite to reveal secrets of negotiations. Now would it?
I suppose.
But I can say it was.
Keeping secrets is the way of Shar, so I congratulate you for abiding by the law of the land. See, you're growing into it.
Unfortunately, I have to. They're going to be staying here for the foreseeable future.
Such a shame. I presume you didn't. Maybe I should go and ask him about. Yes, I think I will. Unless that would, of course, impede some of your operations. I don't want to be a menace. So, I'll leave it up to you, Xerxes. Should I go ask him, or do all of you think this will inconvenience you, and I can find other things to amuse my curiosity?
Yeah, like Sage looks confused as she's looking between, I guess, the three who are in the room because she doesn't know exactly the nature of this deal here. there a particular reason why we have to keep it secret? She kind of like whispers to Xerxes as close as she can.
Not really, no, I suppose. There might be a reason, but I mean, if she's gonna ask him anyway, then it might be better to. As I look to Rudolph and fucking Chester, it might be better to tell anyway if she's gonna go about to ask him. Especially if
The
you're.
Shire just shrugs.
Especially if you meet.
Rudolph will say that you Xerxes and says, kind of like a bit whispering it like slightly. Says, as you know, this Asimar better than all of us. This can either be a trap, or it can be made to look like one, and it's actually all just bluff. I will have to leave it up to you. I do not know this woman.
Fuck. Start thinking, fucking. Well, then in that case, I will simply choose not to tell. Either I'll simply, I think it's the most logical choice. Either I'll tell you and you'll now and you'll find out, or you'll go inside. In which case, you'll find out. Either the village will tell you to leave, or you will find out as well.
I always like my. Well done, bravo.
I'm simply calculating the odds.
Should. You see, keeping secrets is not the only thing a good Sharan does. Taking rational decisions in the face of adversity and challenge, confusing your enemies, deceiving, all things we do. Xerxes, you are growing into it at a much faster rate than I would have expected.
I'm sure we can discuss recruitment forums later.
I don't want to recruit you, Xerxes. I love to see them grow into the position naturally. In fact, if you would want to sign up with us, I would be quite disappointed.
Well, don't you worry about it. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon.
Run. Can I insight this lady as she's talking?
Flirting, the aggressive flirting here.
Yeah, you can give me a secure an advantage with this.
This is a match. The results still floating.
Do I add anything in my senses, my keen senses, or my street vision?
See, Red has to roll to see. Strong hit. Tell us or grunt.
What is your question? What are you inciting her on?
I'm trying to get what her deal is. Does she actually want Xerxes to become this hero for her, and what purpose is it? Or is this really just aggressive flirting? I need to know.
Now, listen. There can be multiple things at the same time.
At once.
So, there's clearly, like, this woman has schemes at play. She, like, him going along and sort of telling her would have made her disappointed. But the thing is, she creates, you get the feeling that she is building a win-win scenario for her. And the scheme here seems to be that she wants him to grow into this idealized version. Although, does she want him to become this hero only so that she can break him down? Or does she want to see him kind of crack under the pressure? And yes, she is aggressively flirting. You are correct.
I can work with this. I can work with this.
She thinks this is a very, very fun thing she's doing right now.
Gotcha.
And she views him as she sees him as she thinks he's just bullshitting out his ass, and the moment you would put him underneath real pressure, he'll crack like an egg. So she is trying to build him up as much as possible before, like, kicking him.
Gotcha.
This seems to be the main scheme, at the very least, you can understand right now. There probably is more, but she is enjoying this. She enjoys the fact that he, like, fought back.
Gotcha.
She wouldn't have respected him as much if he just fucking like caved in.
Okie dokie.
As yeah, with that, she'll smile, turn around, and sort of walk into the forest.
Yeah. Yes, I'd say, until next time.
Oh. What if there is no next time?
Oh, then I'll be quite happy. Oh, then I'll count my blessing. But I kind of doubt it.
She looks at you for a moment, frowns. That kind of hurt my feelings.
Aw.
But you know what, Xerxes?
I'm sure I'll be able to make it up next time.
You seem to think this is some sort of harassing scheme. What you want is to be left alone. I mean, apparently you will be quite happy. And I want nothing but your happiness, Xerxes. So I'll make sure the next time you're the one who seeks me out. Because I won't pursue you anymore. As she smiles, turns around.
I say, honestly, it's quite a shame. I do quite enjoy our lovely little conversations here.
Well, then you better start putting more effort into approaching me instead. And we'll continue walking.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Esmeralda just says, I think you made her mad.
She is definite. She's absolutely mad. I've seen women at taverns get that kind of mad.
Ah, well.
Men too. So the men don't tend to walk away.
Ah, well.